Hey guys, Uncommon Ramen here. Today I'm going to take a look at Dice Throne Season 1 Rerolled. This was a Kickstarter that I received some time back. I didn't do a video right away because I kind of questioned the appropriateness of doing kind of a redo video on Dice Throne since Season 1 has already been long since out. But since this is a new look at Season 1, I figured, what the heck. So really quickly, I'm going to talk about why they wanted to do a season 1 rerolled. I think the main thing is that if you were one of the few people, well, I wouldn't say few people, if you picked up the original season 1 and you picked up any of the season 2 material, you'd notice a huge difference in component quality, which I'm going to go over kind of briefly. If you were to compare the two seasons together, and you were a new player coming from the outside in, you'd almost think that you were looking at two different games. That's how significantly different the component quality was. They had different storage solutions, different player boards, different dice, and what was another difference? I feel like there was 5 major differences. Trying to remember off the top of my head. One of the other things was the cards. The player cards that you had in your hand had no artwork on them at all. So we're going to take a brief look at the original 6 characters from season 1 to see how they got upgraded, and then we'll take a look at the new characters, the Ninja and the Trent, more in depth. So really quickly, first off, you can see that they went ahead and did the season 2 storage solution, which was just really much more compact and more convenient, in my opinion anyway. So the first part you're going to see here, this is the player board. And the original player board was just a rectangle with a background of the character and then the card slots on either end. And the card slots had no art on them at all, which matched to the original cards themselves. So the first thing you're going to notice is that we switched to a threefold or trifold board like the season 2 stuff, and every one of the spaces actually has art as well as the dice combinations, so that you can kind of, it's more for aesthetic pleasure, but it's just kind of a way to immerse yourself more into the game. We're going to take a look at so this part didn't change much. I think that they may have maybe elongated it or maybe rounded the edges. I'm not 100% sure how much this changed, but it didn't change a whole lot. This part as well, if I remember correctly, didn't change all that much. They're about the same. The dice were a big difference. So the original dice, let me see if I can get a focus on that. They were not swirled. They were just a solid color. I can't remember what his color was. I think it was just straight black. So these were just a little bit better, but I think the biggest difference had to have been the art, which you can see the cards that come in every deck have the same art, but then the new cards like Tithe 2, Retaliate, Holy Light, they all received artwork that they didn't originally have. So that's the major difference between the original, is the trifold board and the artwork were just better. And I hate to say that they were just better, but it's true. They all around are better. And the storage solution is much thinner, so you can store more. Dang, why can't I get it focused? There we go. So we have, 8 characters in this one box, and they just did a really good job on that. So there's our Pyromancer, and I'll just pop the board out really quick here. So that's what we're looking at. There's a little bit of extra new art that they've added, obviously, to kind of give us that feel, and it just makes it so that mixing the sets, and when I say mixing the sets, as far as using both season 1 and season 2 together, you don't have a huge quality difference in the presentation, so that when you're playing these, they're synonymous. They look the same. Because like I said, originally, if you were to look at them from the outside in and have not played them at all, you would think they were 2 different games. That's how different the components were. And I'm going to try and show pictures so that everyone can see that. But yeah. Shadow Thief. Just a quick rundown of how much, I don't know, prettier it is, I guess. Like I said, I think these things stayed pretty much the same. And I don't want to go over too much or go into too much depth with these newer or these older characters. Just really want to show you how they stepped it up so that they look the same as season 2, so that when you're pulling them out of the box, it's aesthetically more uniform, I guess. Some quick look at some of this stuff. Let's just go through the deck really quick. Where are these upside down? Take a quick look at that. And again, the dice are different. So the Moon Elf's original dice were a lighter blue, and they didn't have the swirls in them. So I think they stepped it up so that it just feels better. And again, it doesn't change the game. From a standpoint of how the game plays exactly the same. It just looks the same now as the original Dice Throne did. The original season 2 stuff did when it was first released. So that and I don't know why they changed up the components in season 2, but for some reason they felt like that was necessary, and so there was a big difference between how they both looked. And if you sat down at a table and you wanted to play both season 1 and season 2, and you had your season 1 stuff mixed together with other people playing season 2, it looked weird. And if people were taking pictures of that and stuff, it was almost like you had one person or 2 people playing a completely different game, even though they weren't. It's just how they managed to do it. And so if you're not looking to spend the extra money for a whole bunch of personalities or characters that you already have, you don't have to, because the game is exactly the same. I grabbed it because of the aesthetic quality, and I just gifted my old set away. So yeah, you spend a little bit extra money, but at the end of the day, it's just based on it's based on aesthetics, really. if it bothers you to have somebody playing with the old square playmat while everybody else has got their trifold playmat, or that there's no art on the cards at all, then you're probably going to want to switch over to season 1 Rerolled. But if it doesn't, then like I said, the game doesn't actually change at all. So there's no real reason to pick this up aside from, like I said, aesthetic quality. And I just think that it's kind of nice just to have the art on these cards. I'm a big card player. I play Magic. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh. I've played Pokemon. And art is a big deal to me. I was part of the group of people who made a big stink about Legendary when it the first Legendary Marvel deck building game that released. All of the characters' art was exactly the same as the other characters' art. Like, for instance, all of the Iron Man art was exactly the same across every one of his cards, even if his cards were different. And it just didn't make any sense. From the point of view of a player who's a trading card game player, part of the aesthetic of not aesthetic, but part of of playing those games is that you kind of memorize the text that's on those cards, and when you see a card come out, you don't have to read it every single time. And with the original Legendary game, you had to read every card as they came out because they all had the same art. But that was just a big stink of mine. And that goes to the aesthetic quality. Again, the game still played, but So these are the new characters. We have the Ninja and we have the Trent. And I do want to go into a little bit more of a video for these guys because they are brand new. And I don't know if they're going to be part of like a season 3. They were launched with season 1 Rerolled, and season 2 had 8 characters, whereas season 1 only had 6. So maybe this is the extra 2 characters to kind of make them together. And therefore, they can start a season 3 after this, but if they so choose. I mean, they could go the Dice Throne Adventures way, but this is the Ninja mat, and get a better focus there so we can show you all of the different abilities. Jump over here. And then the ultimate. Then we'll grab the player guide with the FAQs. Let's get a good focus on that. There we go. Sorry about the camera movement, guys. I'm working without a tripod still. It's hard to find a tripod that I actually like. And then here is our tokens, so you can get a good view of what you're looking at. And then the dice. And then we'll get a good look at the actual dice. They're just so beautiful. I'm a huge fan of dice and dice games, despite the fact that it's clear to me that dice hate me. But all right, we'll take a look at the cards. This front one's a promo. You can get it probably on their website, but I know that you can get it if you kickstarted it. And then the rest of these cards are what's in every deck. So you need to see those. And then Of course, life counter. Cool picture of the ninja. And our CP. Another great picture. I could show you the tokens too, I suppose. There's not, I mean, the tokens were shown on their sheet, but the tokens did not change. The tokens are exactly the same as the tokens you would get from Season 1. And really, honestly, they didn't need to change. There was no difference in component quality between Season 1 and Season 2 as far as these tokens were concerned. So, to be honest with you, there's no reason to change them. They're just simple things to mark different debuffs and buffs anyway. Very temporary when it comes right down to it. That is the ninja. And then finally we're going to take a look at the Trent, who is actually between the two. I thought the ninja was going to be my favorite because it's a ninja. I mean, come on. You know, they have a pirate, now they have a ninja. Super cool. But actually the Trent, I ended up being more excited for because the Trent had really cool abilities with growing helpers, really. So there's the Trent and all of his little friends on his finger. Somewhere in here is his little dryad buddy, but she's probably hiding. That is her. Right there. No, I brightened it. I'm so sorry. There we go. I just want to focus. Some more stuff. Vengeful Vines. Defense ability. Some other cool stuff. And his ultimate. Wake the Forest. So that's his little trifold right there. I'm going to take a look at his player explanation showing difficulty level, which shows that he's one of the more difficult characters to play, or at least to get a good grasp of. Here's your FAQ. Just showing some of his components right there. That's your Trent, and then on the other side we show all of his cool little, well, let's start by taking a look at spirits, yeah? So these are the different spirits that he can have. And each one has their own thing that they do. When you are getting spirits, you start with the seedling. And if you already have a seedling, then you can start growing the seedling into the sapling and then eventually into the dryad. You can only have one dryad at any given time. We have barbed vines, wellspring, his dice. Another interesting picture of him. Okay. So let's take a look at his dice, because his dice are actually really cool. They have this nice brown wood feel to them, which I just thought was really cool. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's attention to detail like that that I really enjoy. Okay, we'll take a look at his. So somebody has already played this one, so it's not in order, but I'll try to find, like, yeah, there you go, the cards that are specific to him, like Downpour, Harvest, Mother Tree. There you go. The cards. CP dial. With him staring off into the distance. Health dial. Befriending little animal friends. We'll take a look at the spirit. Well, we'll take a look at the two big spirits. So we got the Dryad. These are the little spirit tokens that you'll have with you throughout the course of the game. Let me see if I can find the seedling tokens. So this is what the seedlings look like. The seedlings are about the same size as the debuff tokens. So there's our barbed vines and our wellspring tokens. And that's it. Those are his tokens, and that is the Trent. I did like the Trent a little bit more. I like the idea of growing the spirits. I like the idea of figuring out how to strategically use the spirits to best benefit you. So, yeah. That is Dice Throne Season 1 Rerolled by Roxley Games. Sorry about my fingers there. In truth, like I said before, and I'll say it again, you don't need Season 1 Rerolled to play the Dice Throne game if you have Season 1 already, because nothing has changed aside from the fact that there's some aesthetic quality differences. If you are like me, and you want the game to be uniform, then this is what you want to get, is the Dice Throne Season 1 Rerolled. You can get the Trent and the Ninja separately in a box that is very similar to the Season 2 battle boxes that they released. So you don't, like I said, you don't have to pick up Season 1 Rerolled. This is just a fun way to uniform the game. Alright guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm always down to see some comments, and I try to get back to them as soon as possible. And until next time guys, peace.